Welcome Home Radio Podcast. Are you looking to buy or sell your home? Our team is here with answers to guide you through the buying and selling process. We encourage you to ask questions. Please comment on this show or visit us at welcomehomeradio.net for more information. Bringing real estate, lending, and education together in one place, and to help you make the right home decision for you and your family.
And welcome to Welcome Home Radio, where real estate lending and learning come together. It is June 26th, and I'm very excited about this show today because I am interested in learning, and I'm struggling with one of these key areas. So let me explain to you. A mortgage loan application is made up of 4 critical pieces. I break them down in this way. Credit qualifying. We're going to pull your credit score. We're going to tell you what's there. We're going to talk about it. We're going to set up liabilities. Second, income stability. Do you have stable income? Are you working in the same industry? Have you jumped jobs around, or have you been there for 25 years? Third, asset affordability. And finally, collateral, the home you're buying. Uh-oh.
Sorry about that. It's my daughter calling, and I'll have to tell her to call back. I'll call back in about 30 minutes. Thank you.
So what I want to talk about is asset affordability. In today's age, we have this new thing called cryptocurrencies. And a lot of people are jumping in on them. A lot of people are investing, and they're trying it out, and they're doing. But I'm trying to figure out how I can work with assets that are cryptocurrencies with a mortgage. Is it allowed? Is it a part of the guidelines? Because cryptocurrencies are not a new asset class per the guidelines. I believe the money's there, but Tom, help me out here. How can somebody that has cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, anything along that line, able to use those as assets like a checking account, a 401k, a retirement, or just we can't use mattress money.
Well, to kind of reiterate where you're coming from with regards to this, things changed in 2008. Remember that we used to have loans that were, what do you do for a living? And you say, well, I'm self-employed, and we go through this rigmarole, get your tax returns, and you write off everything, including your cat and your dog and your kids' diapers. Well, I have to keep my kid clean in order to have a job because I take my kid to work sometimes, yada, yada, yada. So all those different things were used as far as to protect your income, but we would have to create in the loan industry a stated income type loan. Well, in addition to that, where's your money coming from? Well, I'm self-employed, so I keep a lot of that money in my safe next to my bed at night. Well, that's great. We can show how you would save that, but I'm going to use stated income, stated asset. So when we had SISAs, stated income, stated assets, we had also NINAs, no income, no asset. Think about it. We didn't ask you where your assets were coming from or how your income was coming in.
Breathe on this mirror and see if it fogs.
That would be exactly it. So we had SISAs and NINAs and Pentas and Santa Marias. We had just about
Columbus.
Here we go, sailing the ocean blue. We had just about everything you could dream of as far as mortgage products. Well, that showed out and ended up not being very positive, not only for the investor, but also for the borrower. And as a result of that, we have bottom lines now where we have to say, show me where the money's coming from, show me how you're going to pay me back. And that's developed because we have what's called ability to repay rules that were created with the passage of Dodd-Frank back in 2010. So that show me the money rule, as far as that is concerned, deals with crypto. Well, my bottom line to you, or my question to help or to answer your initial question, is show me. Show me.
You don't look anything like Tom Cruise. I'm just sorry. Show me the money, and you don't look like it.
Call me Cuba Gooding Jr., please. But show me the money. That's where it gets down and dirty for the loan originator, for the investor, for the mortgage company. We've got to know where this is coming from. Where does this money originate from? Because That didn't work very well when we had people in the cash economy of the United States giving a bunch of cash put down on a property, and we were loaning them $200,000. Yeah, well, they put down 100, so it's real secure. But the fact is that that money came from a place where they didn't pay taxes on it. It was illegally accumulated. There was multiple reasons why we have to go and look at this aspect in today's world. So that big aspect of show me the money, where's it coming from? That becomes the real crux of our dilemma when we're talking about, I need to be able to show this in order to do the loan. Investors want to see the money. So you tell me, how do I see your Prin dollar, your Doge dollar, or your Bitcoin? How do I show that? Well, you got a little secret account. Well, you don't have a secret account. You have an account with 4,000 digits on it that's tied into a specific server that you can go to, and you can change that money and buy the coin, or you can change the coin and move it back into cash for a fee. When you do that, there is no paper trail per se. Now, the government's gotten onto that and is a little bit more sophisticated with following that. And one of the things I noticed the last 3 years of filing my taxes is my accountant wants to make sure, did you at any point or any time sell some type of electronic security? Because that's really what it's guarded as. It's not considered standard. I sold my stock with IBM Corp in my Schwab account, where you can show that. They're following that more and more, and there's becoming more regulatory aspect to make sure if I make $4,000 or $5,000 on an investment into Bitcoin, then I'm supposed to pay taxes on it just like I'd pay the interest on these CDs that I currently have, which I never thought I'd say I had CDs ever again in my lifetime, but I've got some now. Pretty wild to say, well, I got a CD at Frost Bank, and it's like, that sounds weird, Tom. But they have over 5% return right now, so that's okay.
It's okay in a what, a year or 6 months, or
that one's an 8 month, yeah.
8 months. Well, help me understand. I mean, why? I mean, they love, evidently the younger generation loves this new Bitcoin stuff, and they're going for cryptocurrency, and but yet there's no way to trail or track that I've been made aware of yet to be able to use those assets. And we need to be able, like you say, as the investor, they want to know, where's this money at, or where's it coming from, if it's needed, availability. And speaking of, hello, Ed Monkeybutt, how are you?
I'm good.
An actual investor into this stuff, this cryptocurrency. Welcome.
Yeah, I don't know about an investor, but I have some points to make. Your guys are asking questions about the certain things that they're changing in policy and changing in laws, and IRS has been very adamant about changing. Like Tom said, listen, if I did any digital currency of any kind, I got to pay taxes on it, and it's different. You're right, than paying your normal taxes, but not really, because the form is the same.
That is true.
Yeah, I still fill out a 1099 EEC form, or EAC, or whatever it's called, but it's an electronic commissioned, and you have to itemize. So if let's say that I did Apple, right, or any stocks in Microsoft or any other big name box brand, then I don't have to itemize so much. But on the cryptocurrency side of it, they want you to itemize. So this is the part that I hated in 2022, is I had so many transactions that when I did the form, they made me fill out every single transaction. So if I had 600 transactions, I had to fill out all 600 transactions. Because there's no current way to import or copy over or give them a statement of. they may get a statement, but they're weighing the pro and cons versus the two sides, right? Because it's still changing. It's still they haven't got a plan in motion that's 100% true and tried. And I was excited because when I did my taxes in 2023, I didn't do any last year. I was like, thank God I don't have to fill out that form. But come February of this year, 2024, I decided to do some more investment. But I don't do it like what a lot of people are doing. There's so many people that are either, one, they're doing it for the long haul, two, they're doing it for the short haul. And me, I look at where the market is. And if I can put a few bucks in there and I can make a few bucks, it's simple. And this is the way I looked at it. I saw, again, a young kid, probably in his 20s, and he was like, hey, if you'll do this, this, and this and follow my rule in 30 days, and you continue doing this, you'll make $100 a month by really doing nothing but spending 5 minutes a day just maintaining the profile. And I did. And I got to making just a little over $100 a day. And I was like, okay, so that's $3,100 a day a month I was making. But it's hard work. And the day I quit doing it, it started to tank back down because it wasn't set up just to sit there and maintain itself. And the numbers kept going up and down in the cryptocurrency. It's high one day, low the next day. But back to your original question, the one thing that's come up in the last year is I use Robinhood, which is one of the digital currency applications that are out there. And it was one of the, I don't know if it's the first one, but it's one of the first ones. And then also I'm using crypto.
GameStop.
Yeah, I haven't used that one. The ones that I'm using right now, or the ones that I've been using, is one I've used Robinhood. I did use Acorns there for a little bit. And then I used crypto.com and Coinbase. I started using Coinbase just to see how it would work, but Coinbase, they take out so many fees per transaction versus Robinhood. So I just went back to Robinhood because it's easy. But they do now do monthly statements. You can have a bank account. It is a digital bank account. Each one works differently as how they convert it into, did you put it in here as an asset? Or did you put it in here as cryptocurrency? Or you put it in here as a bank to have money that you can go and use a debit card with? And each one does something different. Coinbase, I didn't like how it does the conversion process. You put the money in there and it's like you were talking about CDs. Well, I left $1,000 in there because it was at 5.5. And, I let it go in there for 30 days. I wanted to see what it would make. I was like, versus what I would make 5% of the CD. And it was fine, except when they did all the transaction fees. And then you didn't make anything.
Yeah, right.
I made 12 cents. I was like, are you kidding me? I did a whole 30 days for 12 cents on $1,000. That's because they took out several dollars in fees.
Sounds like the good old days from 8 and 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, let's get back to the original thing of how, Tom, can we use this type of asset on a mortgage?
Okay. Yes. Now, as our friend Mark just pointed out, what did he mention as far as how would I use this? Well, I would have to have statements. So statements are the key for us, documentation showing, and keep in mind, whether it's a bank account, a checking account, your Schwab account, your Fidelity account, we've got to have the name of the account, who it's under. We've got to have an account number. You can truncate that down now to the last 4 digits. We've got to have your name as the person that runs that account. So if you run it with some other friend, you're going to have a letter from that friend saying those funds are available for you to use. There's a requirement for any account documentation that we fully vet where that money comes from, because it needs to be legitimate. And nowadays, of course, with the ability with computers to generate fake statements, that's one of the biggest things we have to guard against is this truly a statement? Because honestly, how many electronic dollars or electronic money statements have you seen in your lifetime?
Yeah.
No, I know what Chase's looks like. I know what B of A looks like. I've done enough Wells Fargo. I know what theirs looks like. But on cryptocurrency, what does that look like? So it's going to have some minimum, because just about every statement we get will have some type of physical address attached to it, and it'll have some type of contact phone number attached to it. And those things are typically missing with cryptocurrency statements, from what I understand. So again, the answer to the question is yes, but.
But.
Big
Not
but.
B-U-T-T, but B-U-T.
Big but. Yeah, capitalized B-U-T.
So if they're able to do, and I understand, Mark, maybe you can validate, there's some of them do have a reporting statement that can answer this need, that can be reported, show the assets with their name, their account number, address, even the web address, all in a statement format. Is that true?
Yeah. So every app, I think, is going to have a different policy. And there's kind of two parts of this. One is there's a lot of apps out there that do exchanging or cryptocurrency or exchanging of any fundamental way of going digital to cash to back to cash to digital, which is really, it's cryptocurrency. And each one does something different. Robinhood and Acorns primarily have made it so that they've said, okay, well, if the Fed is saying we got to follow these guidelines, we follow the guidelines. So they do. So they follow it. So they work it like a bank. So they send you a statement every month on what you have. And if you have zero, you have zero in your statement. If you made a change, you made a penny, you made a penny. If you made $1,000, you made $1,000. It puts it on there and itemizes it. And it will even tell you the date, the time, and the buy and the sell of the transaction. And so you get a full detailed report of that. And you can get a PDF on it. You can get it in your digital statement. Now, one thing that Tom was saying about when you have to be careful on certain, there's so many companies out there, and Tom mentioned it earlier about I think it was GameStop, but I think it's actually called something else. It's Fuel app, or there's a lot of apps that are out there. You have to be very, very careful on some of those apps. It's gambling. And even though cryptocurrency is considered in some fashion a part of gambling because it's the way the transactions, the way it moves, it's not real money that's moving, right? And there are so many companies out there, and one of them just in the last 30 to 60, 90 days had a formed bank through one of the crypto apps. And it got shut down because the fluctuation of money, of people wanting their money out, the bank didn't have the money. And now everything got frozen. And it's a lot of money. It's $1 billion. And I think it was like several people had $7 or $5 million tied in an asset of a digital currency, and they can't get their money out of their bank. It had been converted over to cash, but the bank turns out to be a scam. And it was 2 or 3 guys that created a bank and created the whole crypto part of this thing. It was a big old gigantic Ponzi scheme, and they got caught. And they're still in the legalities of all that, but and not all of it's come out. But if you're not careful, you can be proven something to go to get your mortgage. And I think you guys said it earlier about, you got this statement. You can fake statements, but it's how do you on the other side take that and go, okay, this is legit, right? And you might have to get down to go, okay, well, who's following the rules? Well, I have 3 apps on my phone out of 4 or 5, and 3 that I know that are doing the right thing. Crypto currency goes through Robinhood, crypto.com, and Coinbase. Those are the ones I trust right now. Because they're the ones that are reporting. They're the ones that are actually going, okay, Fed says I need to do this, we're going to do this. And they charge for it, but you get to do what you want when you want to trade.
Yeah. Well, how is it, what is so attractive, Mark, to this cryptocurrency market? I'm looking at best performing assets for a 10-year period. U.S. Treasuries, not good. Gold, you got to be up there in the 10-year mark to really make it. Real estate, from 1 through 10 are all positive. It's growing. S&P 500 you got to be over 5 years to really gain value. But Bitcoin, it says, look, first year investments losing, but the second through the 10th year, you're all over 100% gain growth. I can see the attraction that way if you're tracking that history and success. Doesn't it plateau at some point? It can't continue that type of run, can it?
That's a hard one to answer. It's I want to say yes, but I think it all just depends on the market and the investors that are staying in there. If you've got guys like Elon Musk and that are putting a heavy amount of dollar into it and they stay, and people follow that current guideline on staying because they're following the followers, then yes. But it's like anything. If one guy goes up and you hear about a guy dumping all his stocks and everything, well, everybody panics and everybody does the same thing. There's a lot of people that will follow that same thing and go, whoa, I should sell my share. I should sell my stock. That happens to Apple all the time, happens to Microsoft all the time. It happens as soon as a brand or a product comes out and somebody big decides to step down, or it happens. For me, I think there's two sides. You have a younger generation that's looking at this as a quick dollar. I hate to put it in that aspect, but that's what it really boils down to. This is the generation that's not making a lot of money. They're getting, I don't know what the number is, 50-50 or whatever, that they're getting an education or not getting an education. And then they're just working off pennies off a dollar, jobs, whether it's retail or fast food or whatever. And so they've got $100 here, $5 here. And they look at this and go, well, I put $100 in 4 cents of stocks of some digital currency and it skyrockets, and I follow the rules and I do this thing, I could make $25. Well, I'll take my money out and I'll do it again next week, and I'll keep doing it until I have the money. I know guys right now that do that, and that's how they make $5,000 a month. It's a lot of work. Right? There are some people that I know, one friend specific right now, and somebody as well, Blair, used to be a part of WHR Radio, and he made a lot of money. You know why? Because he sat on it. And he could be a multi-billionaire right now if he would have kept his original stock in Bitcoin when it was, less than 0.004 cents on a penny, and now it's 65,000. He would probably be a 65 billionaire if he had kept into it. But again, it's gambling. It's a process, and I think it's quick dollar. It's hard to take money and go, how do I buy $180 in stock in Apple when I can go over here and take $180 and I can buy 24 million digital currencies, and hopefully that 4 cents goes to 5 cents and make $20 or make $50. So I think that's what entices them, and it's just it's not mom and dad.
No, it's not. Is it, Tom?
Well, not my mom and dad.
My dad would be like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever
heard, right?
I am sure.
My dad been rolling in his grave for years now that I've been doing currency. He's just like, oh, what are you doing? Dude, Dad, I made $1,000.
So I want to at least get to the final answer. Tom has answered it. Bitcoin, cryptocurrency can be used as an asset, but the big issue, the big challenge is proving that this asset is yours and it's real and it's in your control by statements. And statement seems to be a big challenge with a majority of these crypto clearance houses, whoever manages it. It is a struggle. I've had 6 clients and not one of them had a statement that was approved by an underwriter. Not one of them. I mean, they did a lot of effort in it and I appreciated it, but we ultimately had to cash out a lot of those things in a bank where we did get a statement, where we did get something reported and show a transaction. And then finally in the bank, it was worthwhile. So what else do we want to say about this? What do we want to say about Bitcoin? We're not trying to bang on the cryptocurrency. Good luck to anybody. I'm an old timer. I'm not really interested, but what else do we want to say, Tom?
Well, I think that's really it in a nutshell, that the important aspect for somebody going into this that's going to utilize, because I actually had somebody buy a property down in Austin, and eventually what they did was they just gave up and used crypto cash and paid the whole thing cash. But that was something where they did the transfer prior to closing. The wire went into the title company a couple of days in advance, and they just closed on it instead of trying to get a mortgage because of the frustration that they ran into. And I totally understand that people that qualify and use that money, the other consideration is that there is going to be a tax consideration when they get finished. I had a friend the other day, and she was bragging about making $80,000 in the crypto market, and I said, well, how much did you put aside for taxes? And she said, what taxes? Like, they're not going to tax you on it. And I said, the 20% at least that they'll want to recoup, in your case, that's about $16,000. She said, no, I spent it all. I said, well, the government doesn't care if you spend it all. You still owe the taxes on the money which you took out. Sorry. And she said, how will they know? And I say, well, now crypto vendors have to report that stuff. They're no longer kind of in the dark as far as that. Otherwise, they'd face billions of dollars in penalties. So that's not happening any longer in the real world when you make some good cash in the business. So
something you just said that's interesting too is, on some of these apps, the ones that I'm in, you have to give your social security number.
Yeah,
it's in there. You're in the system, right? But there are some apps that you don't. They just know my first name, last name, and my email address, if that's what I gave them, right? And now what they might know further than that is I gave them my debit card or a credit card in order to put money into it, to stock money into that. But there's no reporting again, and there's no money in there. So listen, if they go bankrupt or if they take my money, I'm out. It's a gamble. But on the ones that are true and tried right now, the ones that are the safer ones to use, they're taking your social security number and they are reporting it. And you do.
Very good point.
And it's like you said, when I do my taxes, it's in the form. I mean, it's there. I mean, it clearly says, did you do any transactions in the digital currency? And I say yes. And click, it starts asking you the 50 million questions. What did you do?
Yep. and then you have to fill in 60 transactions. Whoa.
Yep.
Well, I think we've done a good job of bringing this up. It's got to be a concern as well as a challenge in many cases. People need to be aware of it. Find us at welcomehomeradio.net. Ask your questions. Give us advice. Mark, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Great to have you. Tom, great to have you. Thank you again for the opportunity to talk with you. And we just want our listening audience to understand, share us, find us there. But most importantly, if you have further questions, if you have something else, topic you'd like us to talk about, please say it there as well. God bless. Take care.
Welcome Home Radio production provided by Lunatic Digital. Check the listing of this podcast for the links to our sponsors. And don't forget to like, share, and follow us on social media. Visit welcomehomeradio.net for more information. This was a Lunatic Digital production. Visit lunaticdigital.com for all your digital needs.